my wife to marry me about 12 years ago. And then after she said yes, I was like, okay, first step, good. And then about a couple weeks later, I asked her to be in a band with me. And she said yes to that too. So we were rocking and rolling, but we didn't know how to do that. And there was this kind of hero husband-wife duo artist group that we knew about called Jenny and Tyler. And they were doing, yeah, they're so good. And they were gonna come close to where we lived to play a show. And so we emailed them and just said, hey, and I think we attached like a demo of Gray Flowers or something. It was like, we make music too. Would you please meet with us before the show and answer our questions? And they graciously agreed. And so we met with them, they put an amazing show, and from stage that night, they talked about IJM. And that was the first time I ever heard about them. And all the good and beautiful work that they're doing. So I just remember thinking, I would love to talk about them from stage one day if I ever get to be on the stage. And now I get to. So if you're not familiar with the IJM, they are the largest anti-slavery organization in the world. And if you're like me, the first time I heard slavery in a modern context, I had to do sort of a mental double take because slavery was a word that I associated with my fourth grade history class as something like long, long ago, far away in a distant past. And if it exists at all in the present, very rare or on the way out. And sadly, I learned that night that the reverse is actually true, which is that there are more human beings living as slaves on planet Earth now than have ever at any point in human history. And the number is staggering. It's over 50 million at the moment. And 1 in 4 of them are children. And if you've listened to our music for any amount of time, you've probably realized that it tends to lean towards the ache and the longing for a home, a redeemed and renewed creation where there's no more crying or darkness or pain. And whereas Tolkien might say, everything sad comes untrue. And I love stories like that echo those themes. Themes like love that never ends, and good triumphing over evil, and even friendship with non-human beings like dwarves and elves and talking fawns and R2-D2. In the stories that I love most, we were first introduced to a character or a cast of characters. And we follow them around their story for a while, and eventually we're bought into whatever task or quest or adventure is set before them. And we're against whatever obstacle stands in their way, especially if it's an evil one. But in all the good stories, usually things deteriorate, and it doesn't look good. The main character finds himself or herself in a place of great danger and darkness and pain. And you probably read the books or seen the movies. Sauron is back and is threatening to cover the earth in that second darkness. And the White Witch can cast a spell that makes it always winter but never Christmas. It doesn't look good. But usually, there's a small coalition of good guys that discover a weakness in the enemy's plan, something that they didn't expect or count on. The ring can be destroyed by a hobbit from the Shire, and the prophecies are coming true, and Aslan is on the move. Eventually, somebody, or a group of somebodies, makes a great sacrifice, at great cost to themselves, and good triumphs over evil, and the enemy is defeated. And I love stories like that. Even when I know it's going to happen, I still love it. And I believe it's because it's like the gospel story, and I think that narrative is so ingrained in us as human beings, so much that any other ending to the story, other than the defeat of evil, would grate against our souls as human beings, so that if evil were to triumph, we would cry out, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. It's like that kid from The Princess Bride, if you guys have seen that movie. About halfway through, the kid has to stop his grandpa, who's like the narrator of the book and therefore the movie. And he's like, Grandpa, whoa, that can't be how it goes. Start over, read it again, get it right this time. We are in God's story now, and oftentimes we are characters that He chooses to use to accomplish some of His purposes. Oftentimes we are what have to happen in the story in order for it to turn around. And I have a 9-year-old boy named Simon who I leave back home every time I go on the road. He's a great kid. He's very funny, loves to draw. He's great at soccer. He's a great big brother. And I miss him very much when I leave. And kids, just like my son Simon, are being captured and enslaved and put to work from dawn till dusk in terrifying conditions. that would be my personal worst nightmare for Simon. Beaten and starved and deprived of love and without any hope of it ever ending. But this is happening to millions of kids around the world. And I think that wherever you come from, we can all agree in this room that that should not be so. And so we're here to listen to a lot of music tonight that we wrote, but I would love for it to serve as a small coalition of people in the story that fight back and push back against the forces at work and the trafficking and enslaving of human beings. And that's where IJM comes in. The bad news is 50 million people are enslaved. The good news is IJM has an amazing track record at stopping it. They are experts at eradicating slavery. They have systems in place. And I could not think more highly of an organization. To date, they have freed over 90,000 slaves, which is 10,000 in the last year alone. They have prosecuted over 8,000 perpetrators, and I believe that with God's help and by God's grace, in our lifetime, they're going to completely eradicate slavery, and they just need our help to do it. And so, what can we do? IJM has a program called the Freedom Partner Program, and it's any dollar amount a month to join. And tonight, I would love for you to consider joining me and my family in becoming a Freedom Partner. And there's a couple ways that you can do it. The first is by scanning the QR code on this. That is humongous, wow. It's gotta work. Can actually somebody confirm that it works with their phone? Just tell me that it leads. We switched out the links today because it's a different one for Canada. It works? Good? Okay. Can actually like 100 people tell me that it works? I'm just kidding. So the way it works is you can sign up on the QR code there or out at our table out front. And tonight, if you decide to join us, there's a few things that are cool. Number one, about 5 days or 6 days ago when the tour started, the IJM rep in the United States came to one of our shows and said, I need to let you know that somebody anonymously is going to double everything that you guys do on this tour for an entire year. So whatever we do per month for an entire year on this tour is going to be doubled, which is amazing. It takes on average about 15 people to sign up for one rescue operation to be completed. And our hope is that even more do that tonight, but at least that. And tonight also, if you do sign up, we would love to gift you with a free tea. These are the only teas that we can take over the border because these are the only, we're not selling them, we're giving them away. So, you can either get the band tea or the anywhere tea free if you sign up. And so, that's it for me. We're gonna play a quick video and then we'll be back to play some more music. Thank you guys so much for listening.